And it's like, your compiler can't help you for squat. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of dynamic typing. I really prefer static, mainly because your tools can help you out. I mean, you have all sorts of code assist and things like that you can use, all sorts of indexing and searching, refactoring support, which you just can't do with most dynamic languages. And with dynamic languages, you got to really do unit tests like crazy all over the place. So now we have this situation where for us to be generating a report, we pass the report in, and he turns around and calls us back to do something. So instead of the activity being done in the object, we say, hey, please call me. He turns around and calls me back to actually do the report generation. That set of calls, that little chain there, is called double dispatch. It's when you pass in something and say, hey, please call me. He turns around and calls you, as opposed to him doing the work himself. And this was employed in this pattern back in the 90s, and it's really it's tricky to kind of describe to start with, which is why I start with the composite and kind of blend into it this way. And it's one of these things, if you try to read the design pattern book and the visitor pattern, when I was first reading that thing, and it was 1996, I was in Santa Cruz, California at a compiler company. I was working for MetaWare. And I was reading this book, and my nose hit that page about 37 times. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I'm trying to read it, trying to figure it out. It just wasn't clicking. And it's a nasty, nasty pattern. Well, it gets nastier. This is basically the visitor pattern. Let me rename a few things so it really matches what the visitor pattern sounds like. Instead of generate report here, we call this accept. And up in here, I'll change him to accept. And here, I will change him to accept.